This week on the podcast, I have the pleasure of chatting with Simone Luciani about 5 games that left a mark on him, both as a player and as a designer.
The beat of the drums echoes in the pulse beat of the young braves.
Salut les joueuses, salut les joueurs, je suis Paul Gara, nous sommes à Essen pour une nouvelle interview et je suis en compagnie de Simone Luciani. Ciao Simone!
Ciao!
Grazie mille per il suo tempo e la sua disponibilità. Io sono molto felice perché tu sei il mio board game designer preferito. Adesso noi parliamo in inglese perché il mio italiano non è molto bene. Donc oui, je disais, on va parler en français et en anglais donc, pour l'interview. Donc je disais merci beaucoup donc Simone pour ta disponibilité et ton temps. Et tu le sais, tu es mon auteur préféré, donc je suis un peu anxieuse. First, if you agree, we are going to talk about how you discover board games. Was when you were a kid or teenager you discover board games?
As I remember, I played board game when I was very, very young. So when I was 7, 8 years old, I played board game a lot of time. I gather all the board game from my cousins that is gift from Christmas and read all the rules and explain the board game to everything. So just when I was a kid.
I read that you already like to change the rules and to make your own rules.
Yeah, I remember that I start to change the rules of Monopoly, Request, and also start to design my first game when I was 13, 14 for the neighborhood.
You said that after you stopped because you started playing Magic, and then with Catane you start a new time modern board games, in fact.
Yeah, Magic was a really blast. It's a game that absorbed my time, my energy, my mind for a lot of years. And it's a blast also because allow me to think about the game outside the table. So while I was in my classroom, I'm thinking about the deck for the next tournament, and I'm always thinking about the game. And when I stop Magic, I stay without board game for some years, but I still playing chess and thinking about board game. And then Catane opened the world of the Euro game.
You started trying to publish your design when at the beginning of the 2000 years, I think?
Yeah, more or less, this is my first attempt. Yeah.
Okay. And I also read that you was an educator for children, and then you created games for them.
I was educator for more or less 15 years, and I play a lot of board game with my kids, and also create game in a different way, because not only board game, but create game adventure for children.
Okay. I also read that you said you were really inspired by Leo Colovini, and you also wrote a book about game design. In which way Leo Colovini influenced you?
I read this book, and also I participate several times to the Premier Chimera. It is one of the most important prize for prototypes in Italy that Leo Colovini leads and organize. And I read this book, and for me, it's the start of a dream. So I see Leo as the most important Italian designer, and inspired me start to think me about this passion as a possible job, or at that moment, not exactly a job, but something that I could realize. I could publish a game, how to publish it, and reach more people than my friends.
I also read that you define being a game designer as being a sculptor, you mean?
Yeah.
Because you don't have to put things more, you have to take off things, and which sometimes we said you have to streamline, which is not so easy.
It's really depend which kind of game you are designing, because really easy game probably is more about inspiration and a clever idea. It's more about, I found it game. But most of the games are a little bit more complex. it's about add and remove for a long time, like a shaping something. So, yeah, it feels me like a sculptor that passes a lot of time shaping the detail in the stone.
You are very well known for your what we call Euro games, so maybe more expert board games. So they are more complicated. The rules are more complicated, and it's more difficult to streamline that such a game.
It's not complicated to streamline them, but sometimes it's not good to streamline too much, because people that like this kind of experience like to have a big world to explore. If it's too streamlined, you lose some part of the emotion.
Okay.
Then there are more games that are more easy to streamline and become more better and better streamlined. But I think some games is better that it's not so much streamlined than it is.
So we are going to talk about the board games in your list. And we have already mentioned it. The first board game you chosen is Magic: The Gathering, 1993, from Richard Garfield. You discovered it when you were a teenager, when the card games was released.
Not exactly the year of release, because they reached Italy little bit later. Don't know exactly, a couple of years later, but I was very young. And we try in a small convention in my birthplace, and with my friend. And when after our first demo, we stand up and say we need to have this game. So we force the dad of my friends to travel to another city, because there is not yet the game. So we travel for 1 hour. To get this game and get back with some deck, because we need to start to play immediately.
Lots of board game designers mention Magic as very important for them, because it's kind of first experience in game designing, because you have to create your deck and to discover the potential interaction between cards.
Absolutely. At the time, for me, is move away from game design, because absorb so much my mind and my creativity, because all the mind are thinking about create a new deck, combining. Because for me, I think for a lot of game designer, the most fun experience of Magic is creating deck more than playing.
Okay.
So it's really crazy and change for me how I approach to the game, because usually you sit at the table, you play and you have fun. And then I have fun while I'm not playing the game. So it's really something that changes our perspective about a game. So it's a really game-changing, like Dungeons and Dragons. So it's really a milestone.
So you mean that it was more interesting for you to discover the interactions between cards than to win a game, for example?
Yeah, absolutely.
Magic is often described as a living system, because it can change a lot, and there are always new cards. It's something that you perceive when you play it?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't like the collector part of the game, because I'm not a big collector. I don't like to make collections. I like to spend a lot of money and time, but I appreciate a lot that the game changes. So you have a new challenge to face off. You create your deck, but then new card add to the pool, so you need to change your mind. So I like a lot this aspect.
There is also something in Magic that this asymmetry is very assumed and with very strong powers. Often we say that Magic is inspired by Cosmic Encounter. It's something that we can feel in Marco Polo, with these strong powers, this strong asymmetry in the characters we choose at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. He used another way to give the experience of playing something different each time. So Magic break the rules of the game with each card, and Marco Polo break the rules of the game using a different character. But I never think till now, but there could be some similarities.
Do you like or accept that a board game is not so balanced? What do you think about perfect balancing a board game? Because some players, they really want to have balanced board games, because they are more confident when the board games are balanced, and other players, they want more of chaos when there are lots of asymmetry and strong powers.
As a designer, I try to keep in mind the balancement and try to do my best because I know that some people like it a lot. As a player, it's not my main focus. My main focus is about emotion. So for me, if a character, it's take this one and win, it's too much. But perfectly balanced is not my what I really need in a game, but I need to have emotion, to have different experience, to try something new.
So you make a difference between your mission as a game designer and the things you want to experiment as a player.
There are some connection, but when I'm designer, I make a game for other people. I have a lot of games that I like, so I don't make game only for my own. I make game that most people can enjoy and can have fun. So I think also about other taste and perception.
I read that you were first in mechanics when you design board games. But in fact, mechanics are a small part because after you have what the players experiment by playing the game.
But the mechanics, you speak about mechanics and theme, or because mechanics is most of the time is what make you emotion.
Okay.
If you put emotion in the player, so mechanics are not something really dry.
Okay.
You can use mechanics to create emotion, interaction between the players. So you need to taking care, really pay a lot of attention to see how the mechanics connect to the player, connect the player between each other and between which win the game.
Do you still play Magic today?
I still play Magic for 30 years. I don't play in the last 6 months, but I'm continues to play online because I don't have time to buy card and exchange card. But online is super easy. Made a deck, do a game. I still play till 6 or 1 year ago.
In Magic, each card is unique in a way. And in some of your board games, like Grand Austria Hotel, the staff cards are all unique in the game. And in Rats of Wistar, I think the invention cards are unique. And that's something that you like, this having lots of cards, unique cards that can really change the game depending on what you have in your hand.
If you made a game with a lot of copy of each card, you reduce the possibility of combination and a situation that you can face off. So more unique card you have, more different scenario you can have in a game. So it's more complex to design because if you can design 6 cards and then repeat, it's super fast. But it's more fun to have a lot of different cards. I
understood that for that kind of designing card and everything, you were a very big fan of Excel. You use Excel to make to define the good power of each card.
Yeah, I use a lot Excel because give me a basis to start the design and also speed up when you need to add something new. So if I have 100 cards and all the cards have a mathematical basic in Excel, if I need to have more 10, it's super easy instead of create from zero. It's you invest some time at the beginning because making the new Excel file and the formula and everything costs time, but speed up the work and help me a lot.
So we are going to talk about the next game, which is Catane, 1995, by Klaus Teuber. We mentioned it previously that it was the modern board games that bring you back in board games and rather than Magic. How do you discover it?
I played in a comic shop with a friend that introduced me to this game, and for me it's a blast because at that time in Italy there was really few game translated from the board game industry. There are the classic mass market game, but there are very few games of the modern era. So Catane introduced me and showed me that can be a different kind of board game except of trading card game. You can play with 4 players, and also I'm a big fan of video game where you explore, expand your area, gather resources like civilization and this kind. I played when I was young, and Catane feels me that in a compact rules, few playtime, you can grow your civilization, build your houses, and gather resources, and give me a really good feeling.
You also enjoy the negotiation phase, which means lots of interaction, direct interaction between players.
I'm not a big fan of negotiation, but I enjoy in the game because when I learn the game, for me it's really fun. It's really new, so I enjoy also negotiation integrated with the game. But usually negotiation is not one of my main favorite mechanics.
Often Euro games are not very strong for direct interaction. Maybe in Barrage there is a very strong interaction between players. Do you prefer designing board games with indirect interaction, with worker placement or things like that?
I don't have a strong preference of interaction, so as a player I enjoy game with strong interaction and game with low interaction, so I'm not a fan of one of the side. For me, both of sides have plus and malus, so interaction is interesting. You can create a different relationship between the player and you need to adapt your strategy. Low interaction makes the game faster, you can plan without any problem. The game flow usually is better. So more or less I like both sides. When I design, I try to follow the side that suit best for the game I am developing. So Barrage, the interaction is really connected to the game, so it's important that it is well developed. While Newton is super low interaction, but I still like to play both games.
So we are going to talk about the next, which is Agricola, released in 2007, a board game by Uwe Rosenberg. It's often described as one of the first placement worker. Something that you really enjoy when you discover it. You feel that it was something very new with Agricola, or Kailus, maybe if you played before.
What I'm surprised with Agricola, I'm surprised by two different things. The first one is that it's an heavy game with a lot of theme inside the game. It's really well designed and it's heavy. The second one that surprised me at the time is how big is the game, how much card they have inside. And at the beginning I think, we don't need so much card, we don't need so much action, we don't need so much resources. While it opened for me a new experience as player, because a lot of things is also a big world to explore.
Yes.
So I start to understand that not only straightforward game with few rules and super clean is good to me, but also games that are big and can be explored game after game.
You also design worker placement board games that are very important. Of course, we are thinking about Tzolkin. I read that first it was Daniele Taccini. He came back from vacation in Mexico, and he talked about the Maya calendar. And then you always think about these wheels that could turn. And is that true?
Yeah, don't remember if you came back from Mexico. Don't remember this part.
Oh, from vacation, I think. Maybe not.
Don't remember this part. But he's thinking about the Mayan calendar with the stone wheel. And we made a game about the Mayan calendar. And then it stimulated my mind. And I have the first sketch of vision. And it's quite rare that happen, that you have the vision of a complete mechanism, but I saw the wheel with the worker on it, and the time that move the wheel and move the worker to better position. So invert one of the big idea of the game, that you invert the worker place, because you place worker, you don't get nothing, but you get when you remove the worker from the wheel.
This idea of waiting the moment you remove your worker to have the resource or the benefit, it creates a kind of branch in worker placement, because After that, we have seen Raiders of the North Sea, where you have this system of placing and removing. How do you feel when you see that Tzolkin has been an influence for other game designers after?
Yes, but not so much, I think. So it's not like building a creator genre, because the emotion to place and get something immediately is strong. So if you delay, you also have some bad emotion. So it could be something that change the mind of other designer and lead to some intrinsic mechanism, but not so much, I think.
Okay. And in Tzolkin, you have to give food to your worker, as in Agricola, and it was very new in Agricola because I think it was the first worker placement where you have this obligation to give food to your worker.
Yeah, that's true. It's really side mechanics that influence a lot the game in the future years. But and it's strange that I have this idea before Agricola came to the market.
Okay.
I think an old prototype never published about vampire, where you need to gather resources and pay your vampire in blood, but it still remains one of the many prototypes in the box of the unpublished prototype. But this idea of Agricola changed everything, and we use it in Tzolkin because it works very well in this kind of game.
In Agricola, there is a strong link between the theme, the universe, what you are supposed to do in the game, and what the mechanics are. And it's the same, for example, in Barrage. We have this feeling that it's very. You can explain all the rules just by the theme of the board game, because it's very logical. We understand clearly what we do. There is this strong relationship.
I try to make a strong relationship between the theme and mechanics, and not always is easy. But when I start from mechanics, not all the time, but most of them. But after I have a first sketch of the main mechanics, I start to choose the theme, because if you make it early, you can create a lot of link between mechanics and theme. With Barrage, in special, it really have a strong link, because Tommaso worked in the sector of the dam building, and so we start exactly from the theme. The main idea of the game is about managing water and energy. So the game started more from the theme than from the mechanic. Mechanic changed during development a lot.
We are going to talk about the next Race for the Galaxy, from release in 2007, also in 2007 by Tim Lehman. It's also a game with lots of cards. It's a simultaneous play, which is very different. There is not much downtime. The rhythm of the game is something that you were impressed when you played for the first time? The rhythm of the game, the simultaneous action?
Yeah, I like it, but it's not the part that impressed me most, because I saw in Puerto Rico that is super cool mechanic, and it's one of the game I love most in my life. Also, Puerto Rico is one of my top 10. But Race for the Galaxy impressed me more for the use of the card.
Okay.
Because I played first San Juan, that is really similar to Race for the Galaxy. And when I play Race for the Galaxy for the first time, it's not a good feeling for me. It's another San Juan with less control and more luck. So why? But after some games, I realize that it's much more addictive and much better. And this is one of the lessons I learned, is that the difference between unique card and repetition of the same card. Because in Race for the Galaxy, there are more unique cards, little bit more complexity, so more difficult to get into the game. You have one level of complexity more. You have all cards to learn, but give you a lot more different experience, a lot more different scenarios. So I learned it a lot from this development from San Juan to Race for the Galaxy.
Something that you wanted to try in your own design, this different use of the cards?
Yeah, usually I try to put what I like in my design. because when you have the feeling of an emotion, it's more easy to recreate. If you don't like something, it's possible, but not super easy to make a game about this emotion. Instead, if you like so much the card, the combination, the combo, it's more easy to have the feeling and the perception to work on mechanics that create this emotion.
When you play Race for the Galaxy, there are also, especially maybe when you play 2 players, it's stronger, but there is also this guessing and double guessing to choose the best action and to take advantage of the choice of the other player. I don't feel like you put lots of guessing in your board games. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's something that you want to explore.
Yeah, it's possible that I can explore in the future. I like a lot this aspect in Race for the Galaxy because for me, it's not a 2-player game, but really work at best in 2-player because it's really interesting, the interaction. But it's one of the areas I could explore in the future.
So we're going to talk about Terraforming Mars, released in 2016, a game by Jacob Rixelius. It's one of these expert board games that have lots of very huge success. Maybe huger than the little community of game expert players. What do you really enjoy? What have you enjoyed with Terraforming Mars? The cards?
Yeah, probably the basis is cards. Yes. Absolutely. So most of the game I like most is involved about cards, interaction cards, and unique cards. The game did it in a complex game. And did it in a special way. So I like the aspect that each card tells you also a small story. It's really well detailed also on the theme, create a lot of kind of interaction, and how they work on the tag on the card. Each card is for you a goal and a resources. So I want to play this card but I need these 2 tags and I need to play another card to make the 2 tags that give me this card into play. And your mind always shining different goal, one each after other, and it's always satisfying for you. Also, my experience for the first game is meh, not super. But after the second one, I feel a game that I play more than 100 times in my life.
Something I think personally interesting in Terraforming Mars is that things that you can choose to make one action or 2, and depending on the decision you make, it can change all the tempo of the game for you. In fact,
it surprised me the first time I play because when I play my first round is why I don't have to play 2 action. Then you learn, and it's really interesting choice. On the other hand, it could lead a little bit to a longer game because if you want to be last, you're waiting, putting a single action in each turn and lead to a little bit longer game. So there is some bad side of this choice, but it's really interesting.
Terraforming Mars, as I said, was a huge success, maybe like Ark Nova, expert board games that have lots of success, but we know that today expert board games it's more difficult because the prices are higher and players are not all the players, board game players. How this evolution influence your work because you are well known for expert board games, but I feel like in the last years you released lighter board games. I think Mesos, for example, it seems it's not so complicated than Nucleum, for example. It's something you have in mind, the evolution of the market?
In reality, I design all kind of game. I start with the family game in Ticket Red style when I start to design, and most of them not published because at the beginning of my career, my first designed game is a more or less children card game because I like different challenge. And also one of my most selling game is really unknown in the board game industry because it's a game that sold more or less 70,000, 80,000 copies only in Italy.
Okay.
And it's a game about running through your house, finding an object and putting an object on the table. so it's for children, families, really crazy. But yeah, I like most designing game that involve strategy and plan and thinking. But I also like a lot the mid-level game. I'm changing also because I think that doing always the same things could be not super good for creativity. Repetition is... so I try, in the last 2 years, I try to go for something in the middle. Echoes of Time is released here. Adderstone is released here and is a middle-level game in the season area, in Race for the Galaxy area. And also next year I will have also a mid-level game on the market, plus some big one, because always designing big game.
I haven't played Echoes of Time yet, but I played Mesos last year here in Essen. And maybe it's related to Terraforming Mars, this idea of the time passing. And I've heard that you were interested in this idea in a board game to have this feeling of the time which pass.
I like it a lot. I'm nearly obsessed by the feeling of the time in a game. Probably is also because Magic have a strong element of timing. The timing theory Magic is at the basis of the maths of Magic, because you add only one land each round. And I put this passion in Barrage, in Tzolkin, but also Echoes of Time and another game that will come to the market next year. So I try to explore from different point of view the feeling of flow, or the flow of the time.
Yes, flows. In Mesos, it was very strong, this flow of time, and the fact that the cards are going to be older, and maybe once at the moment they are not here anymore, you cannot buy it. It was very strong.
Yeah, also I like that in the game there are some timing. So the event that come and you know that you have 1 or 2 rounds to react, it creates a flow that is not a line, but it's a movement.
I have also the chance to play a prototype of a trick-taking game. You design. Do you play Scopa?
As all Italian, I play trick-taking game, and I'm big fan also of the trick-taking mechanics. So I love so much the crew. I play the new game of trick-taking Lord of the Rings. So I like a lot how trick-taking growth in the modern game, because it's a super old mechanics, but have a really new life in the last years.
I would like just to have a few words about the Grand Austria Hotel, because it's my favorite board game. So I want to take the occasion to ask you, how do you think about this theme of just having an hotel and managing clients, giving them food and drinks, and then how do you have the first idea? It was a mechanics or theme?
We gather 2 ideas. Virginio and me, we are close friends from a long time, and he played Ishpan. And like the game, but don't like so much the idea of rolling the dice and luck when you take all the dice and you get a stronger action. So have the idea of the mechanic of the dice drafting. I have the idea of the theme, and we match together. So the old theme is a little bit different than the one published by Lookout, because you manage. The original name of the prototype was Osteria, and it's in the medieval in Italy, in the center of Italy, where you manage an inn. So more or less, all the elements are the same. So you have guests, you put in to sleep, you give them food, but it's different timing in different epoch. So. The publisher changed to the Vienna in the early 19, and I think it was a good choice.
Yeah. So we are at the end of the interview. Is there something else you want to say, for example, about your new release or new projects?
No, I'm really curious to see how this new game and simpler will be received by the player, because they like my complex game. So I have a little bit fear because they are, it's too simple. But for the moment, Edelstone and Ecos, we're receiving a good feedback. And also I'm really curious for the trick-taking game because at the moment we have a lot of good feedback from the tester and from the people that play it. So we'll see.
Okay. Thank you so much, Simone, for your time, availability. It was so cool for me to have this discussion. Et je remercie les auditeurs et auditrices qui suivent le podcast. Et bientôt pour une prochaine émission. Salut!
Thank you for your time and your passion.
This interview was recorded at the Essenspiel on October 25, 2025, and this episode is produced by Polgara and Hammer. Our show is completely independent. Its contents are free, as in free speech, and we are not sponsored. Follow Polgara's account on Facebook, X, Blue Sky, and Instagram. Thank you for listening to Le Point de Polgara, and until next time, for a new episode.